We are learning new details about today's deadly shooting and about the suspect, too. This all happened about 6:40 this morning at the Immigration and Customs Enforcement Office along 35E between Mockingbird and Empire Central.
Here's a live look now at the scene where police and federal agents have been working all day. You can see it looks a little bit quiet now, but it was very active earlier. Highways shut down, countless emergency vehicles and first responders there on the scene. We have live team coverage on what happened and what we're learning about the suspected gunman. Cole Sullivan is standing by at the scene.
Yeah, but we want to begin this afternoon with Morgan Young, who is in our newsroom with the very latest on what we know at this hour. Morgan?
Well, Dia and Jason, a thorough investigation is underway right now to learn more about a man named Joshua Jahn. Multiple sources say that the 29-year-old is the person who pulled the trigger this morning. Now, law enforcement is working to figure out what his motives were. We know officers responded to 2 addresses so far potentially linked to this man, one in Fairview, that's in Collin County, and another in Durant, Oklahoma. We have crews at both locations who are working to learn more. Officials say a shooter was, quote, firing indiscriminately at the building in a van that was transporting migrants who had been detained and were in ICE custody. 3 of those detainees were shot. 1 of them died. Dallas police confirmed that officers found the shooter on the roof of a building that was close to the facility. They say he had shot and killed himself. FBI officials stated the shooter was found with ammunition with the term anti-ICE etched into it. FBI Director Kash Patel posted the photo you're looking at on your screen right now to social media earlier today. While investigators are still working to confirm a motive, law enforcement and elected officials spoke out against political violence in response to this shooting, calling for a calmer political rhetoric.
This must stop. To every politician who is using rhetoric demonizing ICE and demonizing CBP, stop. To every politician demanding that ICE agents be doxxed and calling for people to go after their families, stop. This has very real consequences. Look, in America, we disagree. That's fine. That's the democratic process. But your political opponents are not Nazis. We need to learn to work together without demonizing each other, without attacking each other.
We saw many statements from officials today condemning attacks on ICE agents and Border Patrol agents. But I do want to reiterate that while officials confirmed they believe this was a targeted attack, investigators are still working to figure out who was being targeted, and that the 3 people who were shot other than the shooter were all migrants who were in ICE custody. And again, 1 of them died. The others are in critical condition this afternoon. Dia.
Thank you, Morgan, getting us up to speed there. There were also civilians outside the ICE facility when the shooting happened. Our Cole Sullivan has been live at the scene since this morning. And Cole, you just spoke with a witness who caught the gunshots on video. You bring us up to speed on what's going on right now there at the scene.
Hey, Dia, we are closer to the scene of this shooting this morning than we have been all day. Just over my shoulder is that ICE facility. About 50 yards to my right is the Stemmons Freeway. Police have allowed us to get this close because they're centralized in the back of this facility right now. That's where this shooting actually took place. And as you mentioned, I just spoke with one woman who says she was here as it all went down. She shared with us video where you can hear what sounds like gunshots.
Eso está muy cerca, eso está muy cerca.
This is video from Denise's Robleto hiding in her car in the parking lot. She told us she came here to drop her mom Myra off at an immigration appointment. She says she was scared to leave when the shots started because she didn't want to leave her mom behind. ICE now says the gunman was on a rooftop, but Roberto didn't know that. You can imagine the terror that she felt. From the head of ICE in Dallas, frustration.
But this is the second time I've had to stand in front of you and talk about a shooter at one of my facilities. And I think that the takeaway from all of this is that the rhetoric has to stop.
You hear him mention a second time. This is being the second time he has had to talk about an attack at an ICE facility. The first was over the 4th of July weekend in Alvarado at a detention center there. So that's south of Fort Worth. The FBI says that a group of about a dozen or so people staged a protest at that facility to lure police officers to the scene, and then one of them shot a police officer, an Alvarado police officer, in the neck. That police officer is now back on the job months later, and I was just in federal court earlier this week for the initial appearance of some of those suspects, Dia.
Now, Cole, you mentioned the shooting and the attack there in Alvarado. We know ICE is taking security seriously after that incident, but what's changed about security there?
Well, and Dia, that was one of the things that we noticed in the days after covering that incident in Alvarado. We saw a really beefed up security presence from the Department of Homeland Security. There were armored vehicles, a number of officers at a checkpoint on the road to that detention center. One of the neighbors told me, and this stuck with me, that it felt like her neighborhood had been invaded by an army. She said that was just how secure and how strict about security some of the Department of Homeland Security officers were at the time at that facility after the attack there. That's the kind of security we may soon see here at this facility in Dallas. Dia.
All right, Cole Sullivan reporting for us live there at the scene this afternoon. Thank you.